Welcome, everyone, to PEMF TV. This is Brenda Pearce, the empowered nurse here to triage body, mind, and spirit. And I am a proponent of PEMF therapy as a solution to EMF problems. So as a medical practitioner, I know firsthand that I've seen a lot of people suffer from what we call digital dementia, mitochondrial dysfunction, and a whole host of other things that we are becoming environmentally sensitive to because of the EMF situation. And with me tonight is Allie Oaks. And Allie Oaks, I'm sorry, I always say your name wrong.
I know you mean me.
Yes. And we're privileged to have her here. We get her on a monthly basis, and we love to converse with her because she is so informative about the PEMF situation in terms of what it can do to help people overcome a lot of the dysfunction that's happening in our day-to-day world. And she is the president of Swiss Bionic Solutions Canada and also PEMF Global. And we're privileged to have her. And welcome aboard, Allie.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And a special thank you to you, my PEMF peep, Brenda, who is well-educated and well-versed for initiating these monthly educational Facebook Lives.
Thank you so much for everyone who's here, who's showing up and joining us here, whether you are a PEMF proponent or someone who's curious about the situation and what PEMF means. What are EMFs? What are microwaves doing to us? What is digital dementia? You know, we are all here to learn and explore and discover what it is that's going on. And I've got my trusty sidekick, Daisy, here with me as well. And my energy dog, I call her. And and we're here to rock the airwaves because we really want to rock up the world. We want to really wake up people and let them know that there is something afoot that is a great convenience, a great part of many people's lives. And we can't do this show without being on Wi-Fi and taking advantage of the electronics and the digital technology that's all around us. So we want to learn how to live within the environment that has been created. And as such, Allie, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you personally and your journey. And so people understand that there is something really afoot here.
Yes, I love to share that because there's a reason why people do what they do. There's a reason why I am in this industry. There's a reason why you have taken such a major part in this industry. And so I come from a place of passion. And my passion started 13 years ago when I was mental and physical, emotional wreck, literally. I had a series of symptoms, and I was working at the time as a personal support worker, so I had basically no real medical background. And with my symptoms, which, just to name a few, severe headaches, irritable bowel, female issues for which I was supposed to have a hysterectomy. Mind you, I never did. I had two shoulder injuries for which I was supposed to have surgery. Didn't have that either. And as a result, I couldn't sleep because I was constantly in pain. I couldn't eat because of my irritable bowel. I couldn't function because of my headache. And all that led to depression because I couldn't do life. Okay, so I was depressed. And at the time, of course, the situation with wireless and other forms of radiation in our environment wasn't as severe or out in the open as it is today. So a lot of some of my symptoms could be attributed to wireless and other forms of radiation, as I have learned later. So when I suffered from all this, of course, I turned to what I knew, the conventional medical system. Little did I know that the conventional medical system just deals with symptoms, and symptoms are a result of something gone wrong in your body for quite some time, and that leads to the cell level. But I didn't know all that back then, and I couldn't find relief in the conventional medical system. I was pumped full of drugs to deal with the symptom, which primarily was pain or sleeping pills and things like that. So then I was introduced to pulsating electromagnetic fields. Again, didn't understand them, couldn't really talk about it, but amazing things happened. Everything changed for me. I began to sleep. I was in a better mood. My pain went away. I was canceling my shoulder surgery. I declined having a hysterectomy. My back pain went away. And that was 13 years ago. And what happened was, even though I couldn't explain it because I didn't totally understand it at the time, but the people in my circle saw the transformation because they had seen me in misery for so long. And all of a sudden, I could relate to 80% of the population who suffer from chronic conditions and may just find temporary relief, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I did it all. I even went the nutritional route, because sometimes people tell you that if you eat good nutrition, you can solve your problem. Mm-hmm. And as it turned out, you might not be able to solve your problem, even if you eat good food, which isn't to say you should eat junk food. That's not what I mean. But if your cells don't work at the optimum level, you cannot repair. Your body can't balance. You cannot regenerate. And later, when I studied pulsed electromagnetic fields, then I learned all that. And I also learned the impact of wireless and other forms of radiation on our cells, all our 75 trillion cells. And back then, because I got better and people witnessed it, they wanted to know, what is it that I'm using? You remember that herbal essence commercial? I want to have what she has.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so then I had people over at my house and they were lying on my dining room table with my mat. At the back then, we didn't have the Omnium. We had the MRS. And people got better and they wanted to buy one. And that led to, fast forward quickly, we have become a multi-million-dollar company. We are in 54 countries. And we have way over 1.5 million users every day on our devices. And people use them for various reasons, Brenda. People usually buy them because they have a health condition, but they don't always totally understand what kind of a power tool this is and how imperative it is to have optimum cell function today, right? And I always say to people, if you're not listening today, a year from now, you wish you would have started on your PEMF system already. Mm-hmm. Right? So,
for sure. Yeah. Well, to tell you a little anecdote, I was having a kind of a headache all afternoon, and I went over to my mom's. It's my system's at my mom's, and I share it between her and myself. And I hadn't been on it for several days, and I went and I laid down on it, and just 10 minutes, my headache was gone. No Tylenol, no fuss, no muss. It just laid down. Very simple, very easy peasy, and we'll get into further details about that. But PEMF therapy is cell health. It really works at the cell level, right, Allie?
Exactly. And why is that important? Why should I care about my cells? Okay, that's what people will think. Nobody has talked about my cells. People talk about conditions. They talk about diseases. People talk about yes, I know that wireless and other forms of radiation isn't good for me. I know that. But people do not understand frequencies and the impact of frequencies on the human cell, all of our 75 trillion cells. And they're beneficial frequencies and they're harmful frequencies.
Yeah.
And what do they do? So what happens when I lie on a PEMF system? What happens? What actually takes place while I'm on it? Well, there are pulsating electromagnetic fields that were designed by NASA way back when the first astronaut went in outer space, because there was no electromagnetic field. All right, because nothing grows on the moon. So you couldn't even survive on the moon. And that astronaut was only in outer space an hour and a half or so. When he returned, he had a whole host of symptoms, among them severe depression and recognizable loss of bone density. So osteoporosis, right?
Right.
And so then it was concluded, rightfully so, that this was because of the absence of the electromagnetic field. And I hope we all know that we need the electromagnetic field of the Earth to survive. And today, we don't have enough of it. We don't have the full electromagnetic field of the Earth and available to us. And furthermore, even if we do, we need to turn the static field into a pulsating field. And we do that by walking. So, when you live, for instance, a lot of people live off the grid, right? Mm-hmm. Because they understand the power of negative frequencies or high frequencies that are outside of the biological window of human frequencies. So they understand the impact of wireless and other forms of radiation that we find with like cell phones, microwaves, cell phone towers, light bulbs, electricity, baby monitors, our cars, and now even the rollout of 5G, right? Mm-hmm. So all these things in our environment have a detrimental effect and on our cells because they change the DNA, right? So it causes mitochondrial dysfunction. The layman terms would just be, it impairs the function of our cell. And it's not something you can stand in front of the mirror and you can count your cells and look at them and say, okay, this side, they work good. Here, they don't work. You can't observe that, right? Mm-hmm. And the people that live off the grid in the absence of any electromagnetic energy, so they do have internet, but they're hardwired, right? They don't have Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And these people understand the danger on our health and the civilization diseases that are cropping up in astonishing numbers, right down to the number of people suffering from cancer. It used to be 1 out of 4, and now it's 1 out of 2. So that is why these people made the choice to live off the grid. So they're out in the woods, they're not surrounded by wireless, and they still have a PEMF system. And you know why? Even though they are connected much more than the majority of the people are, they're connected to the electromagnetic field, and they have removed as much electromagnetic negative energy out of their lives as possible. They still need to turn the static field of the electromagnetic field of the Earth into a pulsating field to fire up their cells, right? Mm-hmm. And because they too don't walk a lot, right? They don't, like our civilized lifestyle has become so sedentary And we all suffer from mitochondrial dysfunction. And there was an article, and I did post it on my Facebook, as a recognized disease, impaired cell function. And that is at the heart of every disease.
And the thing is, though, to get the grasp of cell dysfunction, there are 70 trillion cells, give or take a billion or two, depending on your size and your weight and everything else. But 70 trillion cells, they're in your skin, they're in your heart, they're your muscles, they're your brain cells, they're everywhere. And the thing is, though, what's happened too is there's been some articles too about how big this dysfunction is. Because when we went to rubber-soled shoes, and we got rid of leather-soled shoes and the wood heels and things like that, when we went to rubber-soled shoes, it created a separation of us. Even though we're walking, we can walk all we want. We can walk, how many kilometers a day or miles a day. But if you're wearing rubber-soled shoes, you are broken from the Earth's magnetic field. Not only that, but we're environments, and especially like cities. So if you're in New York City or Toronto or wherever you are, if you're walking on concrete 24/7 and your feet are not touching ground, you are definitely disconnected. So we should all be walking outside as much as we can barefoot in order to get back to the Earth's frequency and get that connection, or go to the beach, walk on the beach. But the thing is, we don't all have that luxury of doing that every single day. No. So we are all prey to this dysfunction. So understand, people, from a medical perspective, what this can do. If your cells are not functioning properly, it doesn't matter. At the cell level, it doesn't differentiate between diabetes or MS or anything else. Any dysfunction at that level is a dysfunction. And as we can see now, we're at the time of the greatest technology in medicine and technology and everything else. The advancements are just like through the roof. Like we heard Trump talk about creating the Space Force the other day. So the thing is, though, we are at our sickest now, more so than ever. And it is ever, period. And even food does not have the same quality of content of nutrients. It's not nutrient as dense as it used to be. So we are really living in a lack, despite, all this wonderful opulence that we see all around us. So it is a huge, huge issue. And whether you believe it or not. So
there is, the science is behind it. The science is there. And the evidence is there. That, like you said, Brenda, we are sicker than ever. And people spend billions on supplements. They spend billions on alternative and complementary treatments, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're still not getting better. Because when your cells don't function, they cannot absorb nutrients. They cannot utilize oxygen. They cannot eliminate toxins. Right? Mm-hmm. Your cells cannot replicate themselves. And this is the most important thing. When cell function is impaired, your cells can't do what they're supposed to do. What are they supposed to do? They are supposed to turn over into healthy cells. It's called cell turnover, right? That's how a body repairs. That's how you can prevent diseases. This is how you prevent aging. Right? This is how you prevent dementia. This is how you prevent an entire body that is made up of 75 trillion cells from deteriorating. Mm-hmm. And this is the only thing you can do. And we are actually screwed. Okay. We are screwed in more than one ways, because we spend more money on organic food. We spend more money on complementary. We spend more money on supplementation. We spend more money on getting quality water through whatever means that may be. Mm-hmm. People spend money on buying things that supposedly shield them from the impact of wireless and other forms of radiation. And North America, I hate to say it, but North American people are so bombarded with advertising and suggestions on what to do, what they should be doing, that they just fall prey to the next best thing that comes on the market. And it goes on and on. They're not discriminatory towards the information that they receive. They don't really search the facts. They go more by belief, like, I'm going to do this treatment because I trust this person. I bought these pills or this juice or whatever because I trust this person, when that person can possibly not even have the knowledge, right? So it's a problem. And here we are, we're surrounded by all these forms of foreign frequencies that are harmful to ourselves. And that evidence is no longer debatable. Right? These are facts. And then the idea, well, if it was so bad, why do they bring it on? Why do they bring, as an example, 5G on the market? Why?
Exactly.
There's a lot of money in it.
Yep.
And we want faster internet. We want to be connected. We don't want to have dropped calls. We want faster, speedier, more data, and don't even know what to do with it. And yeah, go ahead, Brenda.
Yeah, I'm just going to say right there, we have cars now that can drive themselves and park themselves. And we want to have access 24/7 in our cars to be able to navigate and, and all this sort of thing. So there's no escaping it. Like, it is such a pandemic of technology that we are, there are watches that can, take your pulse, and they can report how many, the Fitbits and all this sort of thing. There's so much of this right now. And yet there are more people that are coming down with electromagnetic field sensitivity. And again, that's part of that mitochondrial dysfunction. Yes. But the thing is, though, the more exposed we are, the greater the risk that if you don't have it now, you're going to get it. And those babies that are in our, that are coming, they're so exposed from the moment that they're conceived that they're coming out basically wired. So, it is really not, we're not talking any hypotheses at all. We're not talking about conspiracy theory. Nope. This is the truth. And the sooner that we all embrace the fact of the reality of what's going on around us and really realize that if you're suffering from chronic migraines and sleep dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, sexual dysfunction, thought paralysis, it's not just aging. Aging does not mean that you fall apart. Actually, we should be falling more together as we get older, but we're not given that chance anymore, really.
Depression, depression is huge. Yeah. And, it's accepted as depression and suicides on the rise. Okay. So we accept that. Fine. We even accept within ourselves that at times we are depressed, or that we feel depressed, or that we feel we don't have the energy, or we are in overload. Right. Mm-hmm. And we pretend that we're not. And, we do things, our brains, are running at an all-time high because we are bombarded with information. We can't even sort it out. And then being exposed to wireless and other forms of radiation, it drives everybody crazy. And literally. And the interesting thing is that the same thing is happening that happened with the tobacco industry. Okay, all the evidence was there how dangerous it is to your health while you were sitting at your doctor and your doctor smoked.
Yeah.
And the evidence was already there. People didn't want to listen to it, because it was socially cool at the time to smoke. And look what happened now.
Yeah.
Like, you're an outcast if you smoke, right? And wireless and other forms of radiation is 50 times worse than cigarettes. I'm not making the case for smoking. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it is 50 times worse. And it didn't take very long until people quit smoking, did it?
No.
When you think about it. And you know why? It wasn't just because the research was there. That's only a part of it. It was all of a sudden, people began to feel more health conscious, and they didn't want to walk in a room anymore that was full of smoke because it stinks and it burns your eyes. They didn't want to sit in a car anymore where somebody smokes. They didn't want to sit and enjoy their dinner while somebody puffs next to you. And because that smoke could be smelled, it was visible, and it became something dirty. It could be observed. When it comes to wireless and other forms of radiation, people can't see it, they can't taste it, they can't smell it. So they know that it's not good for us. But how bad can it be when I, number one, don't feel the direct impact? And if I have symptoms from it, I cannot make the connection because I don't know anything about mitochondrial dysfunction. So I take my symptom to the doctor, and the doctor gives me a pill for the symptom when, in fact, I suffer from mitochondrial dysfunction because of my environment, and there's no pill for it. And that is why also the pharmaceutical industry doesn't like that people are coming out talking about mitochondrial dysfunction, because, you know, it's made to sound like a new disease, but it isn't. It was heavily talked about in the early 60s already. And you know why it was of no interest to anybody? There's no pill to optimize cell function. It will never exist, right? Because it's an energetic, mechanical thing that you can do to optimize cell function through frequencies, through the principle of resonance. So there's no money in recognizing a disease and dealing with a real disease that has existed since the early 60s, and now it's coming to the forefront again, right? And also there's no money when you get people healthier and their cells function at their optimum level. What's in it for the pharmaceutical industry? They need people that take prescriptions on a regular basis, you know, like a magazine subscriber. You need to pay them every month.
Well, the amount of R&D that goes into a medication, making it in through all the FDA and all the channels to get it into the actual pharmaceutical compendium and into the drugstores, it takes millions and millions of dollars. And when they were still publishing what was known as the Compendium of Pharmaceutical Services, the book was like that big, and then they went into the digital format. So thousands and thousands of drugs, tens of billions of dollars in R&D, and their business. So they need to recoup. Now, the big thing is, and as a nurse, if I break my arm or I get in a car accident, take me to the nearest emerge and pump me full of whatever, do whatever it takes. Yes. Our medical science is wonderful that way. But when it comes to management, and you have 7 minutes with a physician and one problem you can discuss, and you are there, so they feel that they need to give you a prescription, and you go, yes, sir, I will go and get that filled. And yes, you go and do it. And there are drug benefit plans that provide, and medical, our governments are now saying, okay, if you're under age of 25, your medications are free. Yeah. If you're over 65, your medications are, to the largest part, free. And yep. And if you come down with, say, an imbalance in your body, let's look at it from this point of view. Whenever there is a symptom in your body, it's a symptom of an imbalance. And if you treat the imbalance in the body, whether it be nutrition or from electromagnetic field frequencies at the cell level, or more rest and walking on the bare earth and drinking good alkaline ionized water, you could probably put yourself into a better state. But when you go into a doctor, it's a prescription. And as a nurse of 35 years, and I can give you my certificate and show you 35 years of being in the medical field, it is largely a Band-Aid approach. If you don't change the underlying imbalance that caused it in the first place, you're going to continue on medications and then prescriptions and protocols and adding more things and adding more things and adding more things, and causing organ failure, organ imbalance, a whole raft of things. So I'm speaking, I want to let you know that PEMF therapy is vital to life. It is not an option anymore. If you are needing improved circulation and reduction of pain, that is what, largely these devices are FDA and Health Canada approved and that sort of thing. White papers support it. There is a raft of reams and reams of studies that have been out there on every kind of avenue of health illness and whatever else to back up the fact if your cells are not in harmony with each other, vibing at 4.73 hertz, and in that range, you are going to be in a mess. And I like you, Allie. I want to enjoy life. I don't want to be, wired up to
exactly. And I don't, I'm in this industry for 13 years, and a lot of people don't understand PEMF. They don't understand why it does what it does because they're so focused on their symptoms. It simply does what it does by optimizing cell function. So when you talk about the whole body map, for instance, it offers a smorgasbord of human cell frequencies. And while you lie on it, then the electromagnetic field within the biological window of your human cell frequencies goes right through your body, and on its way, the frequencies resonate with your cell frequencies. So it's not like sending something and popping up the cell. It's a subtle process, but it's a very effective process because the effects last for 6 hours. So your cells are pumped, and cell damage can be reversed by optimizing cell function. So if we suffer from mitochondrial dysfunction, as we all do, then our cells, they sort of, they can mutate. They cannot turn into healthy cells. They cannot communicate with one another. The body cannot repair. It cannot recharge. And we get sicker and sicker, and, we go for drugs. And then, like you said, the one drug has side effects that affects different organs. It's a never-ending story. And that is evident that more people suffering from chronic diseases than at any other time in history. More people suffer from cancer than any other time in history. And while we hear the odd success story, but in general, people are not getting better. And there's a reason why, for instance, every cancer clinic in Europe uses PEMF as part of the protocol, like for every cancer patient, because optimized cell function is where it all begins. And the sooner people understand that, the faster we can get on the road of recovery. And we can also, while we cannot ward off a lot of the EMFs or electromagnetic fields at high frequencies, wireless and other forms of radiation, but, we can reverse some of the damage that's happening to us, right? Because you can see that under a microscope, if you do dark field microscopy, like live blood analysis, you can see how the behavior in the red blood cell changes after just 8 minutes on a low frequency PMF system.
And that's a good fact. Yeah. You know, the thing is, though, I just hate to butt in for a second here, but that's what happens when we are living in a very acidic environment is our blood clumps together. And when it clumps together, so this is just to expand upon the dark field microscopy. When you look at blood underneath, it's all clumped together. And when it's like that, it can't get into the capillaries. It can't get into the alveoli, and they can't get into the very tiny micro filaments in our body. And what happens then is you do get tissue death, you get necrosis, you set yourself up for bacterial infections and all kinds of things. So clumped blood is poor circulation, and you get arterial and venal ulcers as well, and people's feet turn blue, and and all this sort of thing. So that's just to expand upon. Now, what happens when you are on a PEMF mat for 8 minutes? Tell them, Allie, what happens with the microscopy then?
After that, your cells, I wish we would have a picture, but I can describe it, and I can even make it more visual. What Brenda was just describing is that our cells, they clot together, they stick together, they don't have a full membrane surface, so your cells look like raisins. So if you go for 8 minutes on a low frequency based PMF system, such as ours, of course, I'm totally
biased.
We're totally biased. Well, after 30 days, yes. So after 8 minutes, if we then look at your blood, your raisin lookalike cells now turned into grapes, and they have a full membrane surface, but they also flow freely. They don't stick together anymore. So these are optimally functioning cells with an optimum cell charge. And this is what happens on a PMF system. You raise the cell charge, because a healthy cell, to do its job, it needs about -70 to -90 millivolt to just perform its job. Disease cells, voltage drops to -40, and cancer cells -20, -30. And then how can you revive those cells? Like, what can we do today to revive those cells when, in fact, our 75 trillion cells are under siege all day long, whether we know it or feel it or not? They're constantly under siege. So there is some logic, to raising the cell charge, because when your cell has its optimum charge, it can actually absorb nutrients, eliminate toxins, and utilize oxygen. So another example to explain that would be your heart, the cells of your heart. Like, everything in your body is made up of cells. Actually, you are cells. That's what you are. That's what we all are. And a heart cell, which is constantly pumping, it's constantly charged, and has a charge of 120 to 130 millivolts, because it's constantly busy. And that is why there is no cancer of the heart as a primary cancer, because these cells cannot develop cancer because they're constantly charged. And that is so important to understand, right? Yep. To have optimum cell charge. In particular, now that we know so much more about chronic conditions and about cancer, yes, there are experts out there that help you with the right food and all that. And yeah, we need all that. I'm not debating that. But if you really want to have a good chance at optimum health in this day and age, you need optimum cell function and optimum cell charge. And there is nothing else out there that can give you this at this point in time than a PEMF system. And right.
And our system in particular, the Omnium one, and from Swiss Bionic Solutions, is FDA and Health Canada approved as a Class 2 medical device.
No, the Omnium is not. The Omnium is not.
Yeah.
No.
The Omnium, no, the IMRS technology is.
Right. But it has, the Omnium has the IMRS application on it. Yeah. I just want to be clear. I don't want to mislead people.
Right. Okay. I always get into that. So sorry. Thank you for correcting me on this, but that's true.
I have to, because when we go live and then, people say, oh, you have a medical device license for the Omnium too. No, we don't.
No, we don't. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, we have our hands on technology. Okay, so let's talk about this difference between the IMRS MAT system and the Omnium One system, because they're both made by Swiss Bionic Solutions. And, I'd love for you to explain the difference. And also, too, I'd love for you to tell people when they're shopping for a PEMF device, what is it that they need to be looking for? Because there are many, many different devices out there.
Oh, God, yes. When you shop for a PEMF device, I don't have enough time to explain it all.
No.
No. So I would like people to go to PEMFglobal.com. And on the top right, there's how to compare devices. And it explains everything to you about medical device license, about certifications, about frequencies, about waveforms, and all of that. So anyone in the market for a PEMF system, I would strongly recommend that you go to the PEMFglobal.com website, top right, how to compare PEMF devices and get the facts and the science, right? Because it's one thing to say this is the best system versus this one. To me, it's like if you care about facts and science, you go to this website and you read it if you're about to invest in a PEMF system, or if you are thinking about it, or even if you already have one, because then there's too much to explain and people can't comprehend it until they see it all in writing, and they may even have to read it more than once. Mm-hmm. And as for the difference between the IMRS and the Omnium, the IMRS is our flagship model. Sometimes also wrongfully called the MRS or IMRS 2000. We don't have such a product. It doesn't exist. And it is one of our reps who is very big in PEMF, and he's been with us, and he has taken the liberty to call his website IMRS 2000, right? When in fact we don't have such a system, but it's one and the same thing. So the IMRS is our flagship model, standalone unit, meaning it doesn't have an application. It is a control unit that runs PEMF, and it has to be plugged in at all times to use the PEMF, right? So that's one of the differences. It has the medical device license. It has an iGuide, a set of 250 conditions. And we put that in for the North American people because they love their diseases. Then I like to read their diseases. It's a push button unit. You push the button, you push start, and away you go. It is also more expensive than the Omnium. And then we have taken the IMRS application because it's been so successful for so many years. Our company exists for almost 30 years, right? And so we have taken the IMRS application and built it as an app into the first Android-based PEMF system in the world. Nobody has managed yet to produce an Android-based PEMF system. Why is this so innovative and why is it so exciting? And the Omnium is out on the market for 3 years. It is exciting because it is a compact version. You can take it with you anywhere. And because it's an Android-based tablet, our own tablet that you run your PEMF application from, or also the brain entrainment, and that's a whole other story, right? Mm-hmm. The Sound Light Relax system also runs as an application together with PEMF, and the Omnium is compact. It's the size of an iPad, and the mat folds into like a package like this, and you put it in a travel bag. It can go anywhere. You charge the tablet, and you can use the application for up to 6 hours until you have to charge the tablet again. And people like it because it's portable, it's lightweight, it's compact, it works without battery. There was a need for such a system because people want to use it in the car, on the plane, in their backyard, on the boat. Truck drivers want to use it. And it has an amazing price point. And just to remind everybody that until the end of the month, we still have the special for $4,099 instead of $5,400 and something. So you save $1,400 on the Omnium, and you get everything. You get the whole body mat, you get the pillow, you get the Omni Spot, and you get the brain entrainment. And that is a full-fledged PEMF system at that price, with that capacity, is unheard of. Mm-hmm. Right?
It's an excellent price point. Sure.
Yeah, if you compare prices out there, right? If you really look at it, it's an amazing price point, right? And that special will run out at the end of June 2018. I like to add, if we, keep our webinars, mm-hmm. and if we play our webinar next year, I don't want anyone coming asking me for that special.
Exactly. And so you can check out Allie Oakes on PEMFglobal.com. You can also connect with me as well, and I'd be very, very happy to point you in the right direction to get information and to purchase your own PEMF system. I have to tell you, more medical professionals every day are coming on board. I have a PEMF consultant team that are mostly made up of medical professionals, mostly nurses, but we do have an osteopath. We have a clinical psychologist. We have, people in all walks of life are embracing this. Not only that, but there are many, many celebrities out there who are using this, like Tony Robbins, who's one of the premier motivational speakers.
Good old Tony. He's got 4 of them.
Yes. Yeah. And also the Capitol Hill Health Clinic in Washington, D.C. has purchased. How many of those did they purchase, Allie?
I don't even know. Omniums. They just got Omniums. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's 6 or 8 of them in there as well. So people that are living with chronic health conditions, there are many other stars and influential people, star athletes are also using this. In fact, I watched a skating competition where the touted champion was laying on an Omnium mat before he went off on the ice, and he won. So it enhances performance. Of course. But what it does from a... Yes, exactly. So it enhances performance. It really does. And helps with recovery time. It helps to shorten the recovery time post-injury. And also when you've been exerting yourself, it really reduces your recovery time from physical activity, like even if you've gone to the gym.
Oh, yeah. Like a lot of people that, have chronic conditions, they can't work out because it hurts. And if you start using a PEMF system and your pain begins to reduce, and you feel like you want to go on a walk again. You've got energy. You sleep better. You feel better. You're less depressed. It's like, people on PMF systems, they're more hopeful. They're happier, right? Because your body is in balance, and your body does what it is designed to do, is to regenerate and recover, right? And to heal. That's what your body is supposed to do. And then, when I see a lot of people with chronic conditions, and sometimes you just have to push them over the edge before they actually fork up the money to buy a PMF system, right? Because, oh my God, I spent so much on drugs, and I've gone to physio, I've gone to this, I've done this, and I already spent so much money, I already tried everything. And I say, you cannot afford today to not have a PMF system, right? You cannot. Yep. If you understand your body in its most simplest terms on the cell level, and if you understand what PMF does to your body and what our environment, how it's making us sick, right? If you understand that, you and your entire family need a PMF system. I had a lady in today, and she was in shock about the price. And I said, why does that shock you? I didn't know why she was shocked, right? I said, you just told me you spent so much money on this and that and whatever. Obviously, you believe that you are worth investing money in your health. And she said, yeah, but I've done all the wrong things. I said, you don't know. And she said, but I'm not better. And I said, but whatever you've done, it led you here, didn't it? And now you can take control of your health on the cell level. If you can commit to go on that PMF system twice a day. And that is how it is the most effective. And there's no two ways about it. Right? And I said, so don't be in shock, because if I do the math for you, what you spend on managing, like you were talking about before, the money you spend on managing your diseases without getting better is nothing in comparison what you will spend on a PMF system. And you have it every day for years.
Yeah, it's invest in it once and you've got it for forever, and multiple family members, and you can share it with your family members, and even your neighbors if you want to go in together and get one of these systems, and it'll rock your world virtually.
Make sure you add your website, Brenda, so people know how to get a hold of you.
Yes, so Brenda.Pearce /omnium1.com. And, it is, we'll put that up as well. And if you come to PEMF Consultant on Facebook page, you will be able to join our community, and you can get a part of the community and get the access to a lot of cutting edge information. You'll find out various events and what's going on in the PEMF world. And, there's a lot of science. We're always finding anecdotal stories too. People who are just gobsmacked with the fact that they were able to, whatever we say here is not to be construed as medical diagnosis or treatment. But the thing is, though, a happy coincidence on the way to getting well is incorporating PEMF into your wellness continuum for sure.
It may turn out to be the most imperative technology in this day and age, like right now. Right?
Yep. Well, the other piece too is when your cells are in balance with each other, they're able to metabolize nutrients a lot better. So if you're doing good things for your body and you want to really ramp up the effectiveness of what you're doing for your body, drinking good alkaline ionized water and good holistic foods and things like that, it will help your cells to metabolize those things a lot better. And also help your cells to chelate or get rid of the heavy metals and toxins, which are part of the oxidative stress of metabolism within the cells. So it is a functional thing you can do. But when your cells are functioning well and you've got good stuff coming in, good outcomes can only happen. and your body's function is much more better. Your bodily functions are regular and healthy as well. Mm-hmm. And also too, it is the best anti-aging thing you can do for yourself. You can look years younger when your cells are healthy and vibrant. So it's beauty from the inside out, outside in, and it is one of those things that you can make an investment. People will throw thousands of dollars into the Fountain of Youth trying to find the best creams and best beauty ointments and best makeup and things like that. But if you're not creating the canvas that's going to work well with you to be able to have that groundwork that will help you to look your best no matter what age you are, then you might as well just throw your money in the garbage, because it's just not going to happen.
Everything happens on the cell level. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad the truth is out, because now we can freely speak about it, right?
Absolutely.
And I always say that we care, and I can say this wholeheartedly after over 13 years now in this industry, we care more about your cells than anyone else. I can honestly say that, right? So
that's a beautiful way to wrap things up. Cell health is all health, right, Allie?
Yeah, that's right. Love that too. Cell health, yeah. And as soon as you become aware of that your cells, like they always say, oh, be kind to your body because it carries through your life. Well, what does it mean? Be kind to your cells because that's what your body is made out of, right?
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
So
yes, so we want to close now. We're winding down. This hour's gone by so fast, Allie. It's always an amazing ride when we connect together, and can't wait for the next time. But for now, what I want to do is just thank you all for watching, for being here, whether you're live now in the studio with us or as you are watching the replay on Facebook Live or YouTube, wherever this is posted. Please know you can always get a hold of us. BrendaPearce.omnium1.com will get you to
ask Allie how to find Brenda. I'll tell you too.
Yeah. Or you can go to, she'll always find me. She knows where I live and everything. So, it's a wonderful thing. Also to PEMFconsultant.com is a wonderful page. We also have the Facebook community, PEMF Consultant. Please know that we are rocking the PEMF world. Millions of people around the world have discovered and have uncovered the truth about cell health being all health. And the Omnium One from Swiss Bionic Solutions is a wonderful, wonderful way to get your cells into harmony. And I thank Allie for illuminating me to the truth about PEMF therapy 3 years ago now. And wow. It is. It's amazing. Time flies when you're feeling good. So make your life feel wonderful and get your own PEMF product, whether it is the special for June 2018 or whenever. Connect with us. Yeah. It's a price point and investment forever.
Get the special. And if you want to pay $1,400 more, wait until next month.
Exactly. So for PEMF TV, this is Brenda Pearce signing out. And thank you, Allie Oakes. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience again. Love you all. Get healthy, get happy, and let's make ourselves rock.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Brenda. Bye.